Hello there, it's Lenny McGill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in our beautiful Nashville studios. And today we're going to talk about our new Slushy followers. They've been amazingly well received to the point of, we introduced the blue Slushy one. There it is. It's blue. And we have sold a ton of them, and people really like them, and they're asking for more colors. So we have responded, and we are now introducing red, and purple, and blue. How about that? So, they're fun, they're easy, and it's just something to make your magazines be a little different. And we call them Slushies because, we were going to call them something else, but then everybody started going with the word slushy. Hey, can I order 5 of those Slushies? I want 5 of those Slushies. So now they're called Slushies, and there's different colors, and they're available now in 4 colors. Like I said, here they are right here. We got a couple more coming, but right now this is it. Let me go ahead and show you how we disassemble and reassemble. And while we're talking about magazines and magazine followers, I thought I'd talk about the Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 magazines because there's a lot of, not confusion, but just some questions people ask on a regular basis about the Gen 3, 4 magazines and about the Gen 5 magazines. Are they interchangeable? And the answer is yes. Really, one of the things Glock did and has done and is doing is they have made the magazines basically always work for a Glock 17. If you have a Glock 17 magazine, it could be 20 years old. It's going to fit into a Gen 5 magazine or gun. Likewise, if you have a Gen 5 magazine, it's going to fit and function in your Gen 1 G17. And again, you go up and down the spectrum on that. 19 magazines are always going to work. That's the beauty of Glock. They really have made their product line, cross-compatible in many ways. And we find that, the Gen 5 magazines have a slight advantage in a sense, and I'm going to show you what that is. But in a pinch, you can always use Gen 3 magazines and likewise Gen 5 into your Gen 3 gun, Gen 4 guns. Here they are. The advantage I'm going to talk about for the Gen 5 magazine, one, it's got the orange follower. A little easier to see. When you lock the gun back with a black follower, sometimes it's hard to look in there and see that, oh, well, it's empty. Now, obviously, it's always important to be able to manage and look inside there. But the orange follower was a requirement by the military contract. And Glock did it, and people really like it. So one thing people also ask as well, the same thing, well, that orange follower fit into my Gen 3, 4 magazine? The answer is yes. So the followers are kind of universal as well. The other advantage of the Gen 5 magazine, it has a little lip on here compared to the Gen 3, 4 magazine. You notice that lip? So it's a little bit bigger, and the concept there is that it allows you to strip the magazine out of the frame should there be some failure to feed or some other malfunction that sometimes the magazines, and I've seen this happen, where they kind of get stuck in there. And so you've got to really, kind of push it. Even though you're pushing on the magazine release button, it's not falling out because sometimes rounds will kind of get twisted up in there and they won't come out. So they really wanted to give the operator a way to actually strip that magazine out of the frame. And that's really the only other, say, quote unquote, advantage between these two magazines. We sell a bunch of magazines. We've got probably the lowest price on magazines in the entire internet circle universe. So do check out our magazines if you're looking for them. But to install the Slushy or any follower, here's the technique. And I'm going to go ahead and go right through it right now. So I'll take the Gen 5 magazine. I'm going to use our MDT, which is called our magazine disassembly tool. And it will help facilitate taking off the base plate from the magazine body. There's really 5 parts in here. We're going to look at every one of them. So using the post on the MDT, I'm going to stick it into the hole of the magazine, all right, and kind of depress the insert plate, which is loaded by the spring. And so I push that down to get it kind of out of the way. And then this is just like a can opener. I just pop it straight off like so. Now, I've opened this one a couple times before. It's a lot easier the second time. The first time is difficult. So be aware that, it's kind of got a little seal on there, plastic seal. So the first time you crack that seal, it takes a little bit of muscle. This one popped off pretty easy. So I'm going to push this off now. I want to be very careful as I push this off that I capture that insert plate with my thumb, because otherwise the spring is going to send it flying across the room, and I may not be able to find that little $3 part, and the magazine won't work without it. So we do sell insert plates in case you lose yours. All right, so here's the insert plate. Here's the base plate. Another question you may ask yourself is, will that base plate fit and function on the standard Gen 3 magazines? The answer is yes, Gen 3, 4 magazines. So if you want to just buy those, that's one option. But that's another story. Here is the magazine spring and the follower and the magazine body. There's, like I said, 5 parts to a magazine. The follower is quote unquote captured onto the spring, really just by pressure, friction. I can pop it off, and there it is. So there's the standard follower, there's the spring. Now, that said, let's go ahead and get our slushie going here. I'm going to take the red one, and I'm going to pop it onto our spring. There's only one way it goes on. You can see that spring has kind of an uphill side to it. That means that's the direction the bullets are going. So I'm going to stick it in here and kind of just pop it on. And there it is, gets captured, and here it comes into the mag body. Really, like I said, it only goes one way. And there it is. Now, the next step is to put the insert plate in first. Insert plate goes down like so. And then I use the base plate and just put the base plate basically right on top. It's really simple. Kind of force it up over top of the little nubs there, and the post will seat itself into the hole. And that, my friends, is the red slushie that is done, complete, and gives you a unique look. And we've got other colors in case you're interested. But the bottom line is we've got followers in a lot of different colors, and it's kind of fun because it really helps you identify your own magazines and gets you to the point where you can say, that's my magazine for sure. Because when you go out to a range sometimes and you shoot a bunch and a whole bunch of magazines are there, we always have questions as, is that my magazine or is that your magazine? Because they all look alike. So, hey, I'm Lenny Miguel. This, of course, is the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in Nashville. If you're ever in Nashville, it's a great city to visit. We're just 2 miles from the airport. People come here on their way into town, and they come on here on the way out of town because, like I said, they're sometimes they have to check in a hotel at 3 o'clock, and they get here at 11. So they come here, they shoot a little bit, they buy some cool stuff in the store, they hang out a little bit, and then they take an Uber over to their hotel. And I invite you to come down and do the same thing. Again, we've got every Glock in stock, we've got all the Glock pieces and parts, and we have the new slushie followers for your magazines. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.